Hey, okay, so I only have a little bit of time before I gotta get around for work. It is now August 1st, 2025, and so Pike Lucy wants me to vlog, so and then I'll be able to get one idle point, which I have a total of 3 plus 5, which is 8. So I can pretty much generate everything right now except Ko-fi donations. So if anyone wants to help me with getting Ko-fi donations, you can visit my Ko-fi link, which I might just forget to put in the description. Anyway, so yeah. Actually, well, I don't even know. Like, this clip is going to be like maybe 20 minutes long, but so I guess the first topic I wanted to talk about was this game, Task Idle. So for those unfamiliar, basically you have 10 people here. They have an orange here, tasks range from 1 through 4. And the blue to the far right are possible rewards. You only get to choose one. And there's in-game rewards where you gotta like generate resources. Where the names of people, the names of resources, they have like the lists where you can like customize them, and the game randomly assigns the names and randomly assigns the idle point costs to be able to generate each thing, except this one. The first one's always remains at 3, so that you can always generate something. But yeah, you can also get idle gems, which you can buy upgrades when you soft reset. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll go for idle point. I can go for the all resources one, and then how many Ko-fi donations do I have? 1, that'd be 4, 2, 4, 9. Not enough. So screw that idea, I guess. It'd be better for me to get an idle point and then go to bunker, get another idle point. Oh, and they're in-game tasks and in-game rewards, like the idle point thing. And there's a chance to get out-game tasks or out-game rewards. So yeah. And to be honest, I've been doing okay. Like the game isn't the the game isn't well balanced, but I'd say between 5 and 10 runs, I usually get lucky enough to where I can like go down to 3 or 4. Like I have access to all these at the start, and they start stage 1 and go up as you complete the stages. But as like a bonus, which is kind of how I want to play it, is where I can't do anyone's stage 1 unless the person above them is stage 2 or more. So in order to like I kind of like forgot about it and started to go into Bunger's things, but I gotta complete Pike Queen Lucy before going to Bunger, so that's what I'm trying to do. Yay. And it's been going kind of okay. Where I feel like I'm doing okay with like getting stuff done through this game, which is nice. However, I am still like not really taking care of myself that well. I've definitely neglected some things, and I'm hoping that I can catch up with those during the weekend, where I don't have to fucking go anywhere mostly. But yeah, so I also kind of want to like make a video of me just playing this game, but I don't know, like I don't know exactly how to go about doing it. Do I like do I do a mix of like a kind of like regular recording, like recording me actually going through and playing it, and like a post look slash highlight of like describing how things went and shit, because I like to have my videos be like an hour, but like I can't really just record myself doing most things. Like I'm not gonna record myself cleaning the fan or vacuuming. I can record myself playing Toho, but it'd probably be like an hour of playing that. It'd probably be its own video. But I could probably use like a small clip from it to like or highlight a couple clips. I don't know. It sounds, when I put it like that, it sounds like a bunch of work. Which I don't know if I'm willing to go that far, but maybe just to make one video and see how it does. All right, I got like 10 more minutes to talk about stuff. Things to mention. Okay, so on my list I have I don't think this is a good one for my brain right now, but one thing I think I want is a community of people who know what I value and would help me keep on track with my values and such, like with loving my enemies. So basically, well, I don't know if I can boil it down to basically. I mean, that was probably as basic as I could get. Um, so I don't know like what kind of community or whatever I'd want, because like content creators usually get communities of people that, you know, like their content and shit. But I'd probably not be that good of a person to like get popular or something. But either way, like if I do get like a community or if I'd ever develop one, I think I'd like it to where like again, people know my values and stuff. And if I like get too stressed out and like get out of control or something, that in order to like try and steer me in the right direction, people would remind me of what I value and that I need to calm down because what I'm doing like gets in the way of that. Or yeah. And like loving my enemies is something I definitely want to do more of, even though it's not in my fucking nature. So yeah, if I would like if people can kind of like hold me accountable and keep me on track like that. All right. I think I don't know if I mentioned this before because I don't remember what I said exactly in the other recent What the Monster Doing, but to kind of try and help myself feel productive, I kind of decided to each day either work 15 minutes on game dev or try to just ride around block on my bike so that I'm either making something through game dev, which would help me feel like I'm actually, you know, making progress on something, like actually making something that exists, but also like I have a bike and I rarely fucking ride it, and I would like to ride it more. So um it's just some small acts to get my body back into use of actually riding a bike, even though it's a little small for me. And I did game dev like Tuesday and Wednesday, but wait, no, I did game dev Monday and Tuesday, and I didn't do any of those Wednesday or Thursday because those days, Wednesday was busy. Thursday was just, I was it was like half busy, and I was also half out of it because took a nap immediately after I took a nap. I had to go over Mars, run errands. When I got back home, it was already like past 4 o'clock, so have to log on to fucking Madoka game, do dailies and shit. And then I ended up clogging my toilet, and so I was going back and forth between the game and trying to unclog it. And yesterday was a bit of a mess. A bit of a mess. But I guess speaking of that, magical girls. So I don't have much time, but I think I can just go over things, I guess. So, speaking of magical girls, unfortunately, I don't have like any images to pop up because I wasn't that prepared because I have so little time right now to actually talk about stuff. But so I kind of like magical girls. What I mean by kind of is that I'm not into most. Like there's only like 3 magical girl series that I'm like into. So I'm not like a regular person that you'd think of that likes magical girls. I think I've only seen like a couple episodes of Sailor Moon long time ago. But so the magical girl series I'm into is Shugo Chara. I actually watched all of the anime a long time ago when I was still in school. Like I just kind of just more or less watched one episode a day, and somehow I was able to just do that, and I really enjoyed the series. Really did. I heard that like the first season of the anime kind of like branches off from the manga, like goes in a different direction. So I kind of tried to read the manga a long time ago, and it was a mess. So I don't know if it's like a fault of the translator or something, maybe. But I've had times where like I didn't know how to read the page. Like it was just, there's a couple times where it made more sense reading it right to left. There's a couple times where it made more sense reading it left to right. And there was a couple of pages where it didn't make sense reading it either way. So I thought like it's a confusing mess, and I didn't like it. So like I guess the dialogue kind of helps with that, but like it didn't, like there was dialogue balloons that didn't really make sense, but it was a long time ago. And so I noped out of reading the manga, but I heard like a month ago or so, a month or 2 months ago, that there's a sequel manga, and it's called Shugo Chara Jewel Joker. And So I've been reading a translated version of that, and currently like chapter 9. Like I've read all through chapter 9, and I could it wasn't confusing at all. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Second one is I gotta speed this up because I have no time now. Ojamjo Doremi is a big part of my childhood. I've watched. I started with the 4Kids dub. It was just on Saturday cartoons, and I fell in love with it as the 4Kids version. And later, I know I was in middle school at the time, and in middle school I looked it up on a computer and shit, and apparently it was Magical Doremi, and I found out there's a Japanese version called Ojamjo Doremi, and it has more to it. So, and so I've watched all of the first season, and like I don't know, around like 10 episodes of each of the other seasons. So I remember watching all of Nai Show, which is like a side thing between between the third and fourth seasons. But yeah, so that's Ojamjo Doremi, Shugochara, and Madoka Magica, but it's kind of two, because it's Madoka Magica and Magia Record, which is a side story. So I watched anime. It was all right. Like it didn't really stick with me, but you know, it's known for its subversion of it's a more darker magical girl series, and then someone told me about Magia Record, and I watched the first season of it when it was out. There was no second or third season, but yeah, it was kind of okay and interesting. I definitely liked the storyline that it was telling. I think, to be honest, I don't remember. I don't remember when it comes to anime, but later I went to YouTube and watched like the story cutscenes of Magia Record from the video game, and holy shit. Like, I got through Act 1, which is the only thing that was, like, there wasn't an Act 2 at the time, but, like, I like that story a lot more than the regular Madoka Magica, yeah, I'm more into Magia Record than Madoka Magica, though I guess they're tied together. They're definitely tied together. But yeah, so I'm also like halfway through the second act, which I just really love it. Though I stopped because I heard rumors and some slight spoilers of like things going to shit, and I'm like, I really don't want to have to deal with things going to shit with characters I like and everything. But yeah, and then they got a new Madoka game on Steam of Madoka Magica Exedra, Ezedra. And so far, I've gone through some of the story, and like they have the regular story and Magia record. I just got into the Magia record storyline, and I am excited, though it kind of splits off in a way that doesn't make sense but does make sense, because you don't really complete the main story Madoka Magica anime timeline before jumping into the Magia record stuff. So it's a little weird in that, but it also makes sense because of like the timeline stuff of like when it branches off and everything. But I thought like it'd make more sense to be able to like continue both timelines, and then it'd be like, oh, so both timelines are like, you can explore each one, they just split off. So you can continue this storyline and unlock this shit, or you can go off to the Magia record storyline and branch off from that shit. But yeah, so that's basically the 3 magical series I'm most into. All right, so 27 minutes. I'll see you guys in the next clip, and hopefully I'll have more stuff to talk about then, so I can make a complete vlog video for Pike Queen Lucy. All right, next clip. Hello. So still the first, but it's 9 p.m. right now. But so I just woke up from a nap, but I'm a little bit pissed off at my clumsiness, and my throat's dry, so I need to take a little thing of water and put it down my throat. Hold on. Okay, hopefully I'm good for like a minute. But so what I wanted to talk about and share is kind of heavy stuff, but so it's probably best for me to just get into it, but it's a bit religious, but I'm not here to say like who's right or wrong. I just want to say my perspective and feelings, and that's it. But so I'd say I'm a bit of an enigma, where I do not like God, but I admire Jesus. So but thankfully I'm not so stressed out that right now I can say that the bottom line is that like I don't exactly know who God is. Or at least, like, to be honest, I never met Jesus anyway, but like either, but from shit that I've heard from people and about things that happened in the Bible that I haven't read, but I've watched videos of people talking about some of the stories from the Bible. I definitely like Jesus a lot more than God. And the want to like explain and clarify the distinction as much as I can, but I think what I most wanted to talk about is that like my issues with God, but mostly how people talk about God. And I assume that I would actually like not like God if I actually read the stories of the Bible or something. But I guess to get to the point is I don't like how people says that he's like perfect and all good, because I can't really understand the concept of a perfect and all good God allowing such terrible things to happen. Or even him making us humans. Like, I can't really understand why he would why he would make us where we're flawed and shit. And like this idea of like he wants us to help bring about the most good, but it's like it like the Adam and Eve thing is like they gave in to temptation before they knew about evil. So it's like why would that be possible, you know? If you want people to make the most good, then why would you make it to where they would give in to temptation at all? And it's just so fucking weird. Doesn't make sense. And that's where most of my anger and shit comes from, is I would like an explanation. I would like to understand why a perfect and good God would settle for a world like this. And it just really confuses the hell out of me, because like you can also say is like God lives in heaven. Okay, why is there Earth or whatever, or the beast realm and shit? Like Earth, the realm of beasts. Like we like a beast convince Adam and Eve that they can like decide to rule their way or whatever, and so God casts them out into the world of the beasts. And it's like, what? Like, why did you even make a world of the beasts? Like it's just so weird. Like, if you want the most good, like, do you want it the most good everywhere? If you want the most good everywhere, why would you make a realm of the beasts and just make everything like heaven? And it's just, I have so many questions that's like, I don't understand any of this shit. And again, I'm not arguing that what's real, what's not, or that people shouldn't like believe in a good God. These are just my personal feelings and issues that I struggle with. And I feel that struggle most of the times whenever I'm clumsy. Like, if God wants the most good, how does making someone clumsy, a flaw, where they will just randomly suffer basically because they don't have good coordination or attention or something like that. Like, why? Like, being clumsy isn't evil, but I don't understand why God would make someone clumsy if he wants the most good, because like usually evil and malice comes from fucking pain. And the thing is that clumsiness can cause a lot of unexpected and undesirable pain. So why? But what I really wanted to get down into is talking about the Bruce Almighty portrayal of God, because I feel like that God is always like good intentioned, but not perfect. And for some reason, I find that kind of God more forgivable than a God who's supposedly perfect, because if a God can make mistakes and grow and learn from them, then I have reason to believe that I can just forgive the terrible actions of a God like that, who's just trying to use the cards that he's dealt with to the best of his ability. And basically the 2 points that I want to talk about so there's 2 things from the Bruce Almighty movie that stand out to me, which is Bruce lassoing in the moon and people winning the lottery. And what I want to believe is that God, a thing that the movie kind of explores through Bruce is he kind of starts off, when it comes to the prayer thing, to so that he can like automate it and like get back to his own, selfish desires and not actually listen to people's prayers, is that um he just says yes to all prayers. And there's some funny wacky like things said and done. It's like somebody losing weight on the chocolate and ice cream diet. But that ends up leading to a lot of people winning the lottery because they prayed to win the lottery. And the thing is that life, there's pros and cons to everything, and there are consequences to things happening, basically. And I feel like the lottery thing is a lesser example than the moon, but it's not an easier thing to understand because there's a lot of moving parts and stuff. But since I went into the lottery thing first, I'll start off with that. But the whole thing about like God won't interfere with like free will and stuff. And the thing is, because tons of people won the lottery, instead of everyone getting like $1 billion or whatever the jackpot was, the best course of action that people decided to do was just split it between everyone. And unfortunately, that led to all of the winners getting only $17, which understandably upset people. That would eventually lead to, well, contribute to riots happening. But yeah, so that's like something that people decided, and so it's basically their will, like they that was their decision to make, to divide the pot amongst all the winners, instead of like saying there was an error, and so they're just gonna skip it, bring out new tickets, and apologize to everyone, which would also make everyone frustrated because they finally hit the jackpot. Their prayers have literally been answered, and it feels like it's been swept away from under their feet. But then, and like what isn't like explored or whatever, or even questioned, is like, why doesn't God just give everyone $1 billion? And I mean, governments obviously don't do that, because giving everyone $1 billion does bad things to the fucking economy. So just printing out $1 billion for everyone to have, that negatively impacts the economy, and it doesn't necessarily make things better for people, And so there's that example, and then there's the moon, Bruce lassoing it in for like a romantic night, and then and then on the TV the next morning, like the TV's just going, but there's news about like damage and severe weather or something like that happening around the world because of uh like high tides or something, or like the tides just being way screwed up from the moon being way closer to the earth than it was the night before. So that's like a like you'll have to understand that like how tides work, but usually in like school we learn that the gravitational pull of the moon has an effect on the tides, which and so seeing those consequences is like a major thing to where like life and the universe is such a complex system that it doesn't make sense for God to do everything in order to make the most good happen. But and so again, it pisses me off a lot less that like if God is working within the confines of reality, that it would make sense that he would go about things in a roundabout way most of the time. Because there's most of the time there would be negative consequences that maybe he could see, but most of us would not be able to. And logically, I would like to think that's from like his experience and wisdom of doing this shit for years and shit. But so, and again, problem I have with like a perfect God is that a perfect God can just say, fuck reality, I'm gonna make it to where the moon is closer to Earth, but it does not affect the tides negatively. Or something like that. And it's just like, yeah, a perfect God would be able to do that, right? But and so just really really putting that under scrutiny about like, because I don't understand why a perfect and good God would settle for this kind of world. And maybe it makes sense to think that he wouldn't settle for this kind of world because he's in heaven, which is supposed to be the place with the most good, but just doesn't make sense to me how like like if um if I just take the simplest approach where it's like God wanted to not be lonely or whatever, so he made creatures in his image who have free will, and and they need to be like tested to make sure that they don't screw things up. But it just like I can understand that, like, okay, Adam and Eve, the humans he made, screwed things up. So he cast them to a world where hopefully they can learn how to be better and become better people so that when they like return to heaven, they can he feels more trusting that they would do the most good in heaven. But and that sounds fine on paper, but for non-perfect God, maybe the forbidden tree is the best that he could do, you know, is the best he could do to like test people. But it just sounds crazy to me if God was perfect, because if God was perfect, why would he need to test people? You know, he could have just made them he could have just made them perfect. And I realize that perfect can seem like a weird concept that nothing in reality is really perfect. But so it's hard to actually conceptualize what being a perfect being would be like. But it's just really odd to me because in my simplest comprehension of what a perfect God would be, why wouldn't a perfect God just make humans and then everything would be good? You know, like there'd be no need to test them because God is perfect and he made humans to be perfect for like what he intends humans to do. But that obviously doesn't seem to be the case because we failed the first test and we keep failing with sin and all this shit. So it seems like a real mess when it comes to the human thing. And it's like, why would a perfect God even make us like this? It baffles me to no end. And you know, when I face the flaws of myself that hurt me, like my clumsiness or the fucking darkness within me that scares the hell out of me. It's like it it really upsets me, and because God made me, and apparently God decides that I should continue to live because he's supposed to like control who lives and dies and is justified in that shit. Like, it just makes me really upset to where I curse God because, again, why would God make me like this? And why would God let me or think it's a good idea for a creature like me to continue to exist? But yeah, like I don't even know if I want to like believe in God, and like it's kind of my choice, but it's hard not to think that God is supposed to be some perfect being and shit who's apparently good all the time when I just lost my train of thought. This is definitely an issue that I struggled with, but like I like maybe it's best for me to just not believe that God is perfect so that I can at least, forgive God for things not being perfect. And if I just believe that he's doing the best he can to make things as good as he can make it, and he's allowed us to have free will to hopefully do the same, and he's literally given us power to affect things, and he's I probably don't have the brains to like explain further, but in the very least, like, I see Jesus as a role model that I'd like to be more like, regardless of the fact that, loving my enemies is not does not come easy to me. It's not in my nature, but for some reason it's something I admire. And if I can focus on that, then if I can focus on being more like Jesus instead of caring about what God wants and stuff, then maybe I can do better. But okay. So looks like that'd be it for this video. So, oh boy. So, those are some things about me, some things that I deal with and stuff. But and I guess the God stuff is feelings that I'm dealing with now. August 1st. But yeah, so thanks for watching, for listening. If you have any questions, leave them down in comments. I'd appreciate it. I feel like I don't know. I don't really know what comments I should get or encourage, but I feel like people asking questions would at least be helpful, to where either it'd give me some things to like reflect on and think about and maybe produce more discussion. But yeah, so if you have any questions you want to ask, feel free to leave them down in the comments. And I'll see you guys later. Take care.